All right, we are live. So I'll wait for a few people to come on in to the room. But for those that are joining this well after it's live, we'll be talking about Twilight 2000. There's the fourth edition. This was the first edition box set. This was the second edition soft cover book. And I've got the Pirates expansion, which took you down rivers and lakes. I've been reading over the reference material for the brand new. It's all shaded, but I was excited. I've been doing a little more role playing lately. Anyway, my son, my 14-year-old son, always leaned toward role playing board games. He loved Zombicide from Simon and was always role playing a little bit more into the characters there. And then we started using Fate Core to do role playing. So I've been doing some role playing and running a group, a mixed group. Sometimes just him. Sometimes I've got a retired coworker over. Magnus is in. Welcome, Magnus. Welcome. But I've been doing live run games using the Fate Core system. The Twilight 2000 4th edition isn't that far. It's open world. It's don't do tons and tons of setup to put a player down the rails, although sometimes you're going to have some of that. A lot of it is exploration and then wild or strange encounters. Why did I say encounters? Encounters that also lend themselves toward theater of the mind, but you have some maps, set piece counters that have a distinct feel of a little bit of board gaming with hex maps to determine range and such. But I had an idea, and I'll come back to it, but it's going to be, I'll flush it out. Lost Tribe. Welcome. Oh, Frankfurt, Germany. Was ist los? So very cool. Thank you for coming in. Well, we'll come back to it, but I'm going to run some RPG sessions where I'll be the referee. I'm going to control an NPC, which I'll talk about a little bit later. I reached out to Dan Pancaldi. He said he's in. And Ron Nicholson, a buddy of mine, and we'll talk more about Ron as well. And he's going to be in the Yellow Devil. Welcome, Yellow Devil. I'll get more into what we'll be doing exactly, but let me back up a little bit before we go. Some of you know I've got a Scotch whiskey show as well. Today we filmed a bunch of episodes, and I'd had a guy named Raphael who had sent me, he's Armenian, and he wanted to send some Armenian whiskey. I guess high. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's how, if you're Armenian, you're high, Hye. And they've played off of, I believe, the Highland. Highland is an area in Scotland that has great whiskey. So they've got their Highland 15-year-old Armenian whiskey. We're going to pour a little bit of that as we do this. I don't need too much because I've already filmed 3 shows. It is my day off, though, so a little bit. Cheers, Solancha. Will go a long way. And I love getting whiskey from around the world. So you can get great whiskey from Japan and obviously Ireland. Waterford is great, along with Jameson. Australia, India, Taiwan makes great whiskey. Rob Nines is in. Hello, greetings from the Netherlands. Greetings. The map for Twilight 2000 includes, well, what is in there? I guess it's mostly Sweden and a little bit of Norway. And it's not really designated out, so I can't tell exactly what else is pieced in there. But I think we'll be taking actions in Poland. Who else is in here? Sky is in. I've been getting into RPGs lately, too. Something in the air, definitely. Definitely something in the air. And I love the open world designs. Even back in the day, what I liked was Twilight 2000 felt grittier. You were always just trying to eat and find water and some fuel for whatever vehicle you were lucky enough to be driving at the time. I remember abandoning vehicles. We had I think a APC, a 113 at one point, and it just took too much fuel. It was like, bye. I think we had a chance to get a tank once, but it was completely out of fuel. It burned tons of fuel. And the only thing our group talked about, this is way back in the late or Yeah, 80s, later 80s. The only thing we talked about was our goal for our group back then was we were American soldiers. Basically, all is lost. Everything's up. All things have broken down. There's been tactical nukes, bigger nukes. Russia's nuked, U.S. is nuked, and you're stuck in Poland. And the statement which they've kept here is good luck. You're on your own. And that's the same statement they kept here. Our deal was to try to get back home. But at one point, we debated, do we fort up? It was like a T-72 that we had control of, and enough fuel to, well, you can always manually crank your turret, but enough fuel to power it up now and then just as a place to keep warm. And we debated, do we make this into some kind of base or fort? And we didn't, because we were just trying to get home. But that was one of the cool things, is it lent itself to, and of course, anybody knows in the 80s, Red Dawn, I mean, that post-apocalyptic thing was all over the place. The 90s, they came out with the new book, which included a lot of different stuff that was in it. It didn't spark me getting back in, but I think I enjoyed the reading of it at the time, if I remember right. So, and then when they came out with the new one, I was like, whoo. And we did do a little bit of the river running. Imagine it's like a tugboat, but we turned it into like a brown water Navy kind of thing. And that was cool. And they're talking about, for Twilight 2004th edition, there's probably like 18 modules out there, and they're talking about bringing those back. There's the Warsaw module, which is I didn't have it, but it was like a completely destroyed city, rats, but there was like an underground you could move through, whatever, and it was just post-hard apocalyptic. Then there was, oh shoot, what was it? Krakow? Might have been Krakow, which was close to like the surviving breadbasket grains, and they had a market, and it was much more of like a city state, and you could get to there, and that was its own world kind of thing. They had a couple things dealing with lakes and rivers. Vistula was one of them, and then that opened up all those waterways and things that you can move along. And there were some others, but I can't remember. There was one that allows, they spun off into stuff, and they've talked about they'll spin off onto like what's going on in America as a place you could go to, all kinds of stuff. So let me get to the point. We'll read some comments, and I'll say what I'm going to be doing. Hello, greetings from the Netherlands. That was Rob. Magnus, was the original Twilight 2000 a Swedish production? It was not. It was the Game Design Workshop, GDW. I never even knew. I think I always just called it GDW. And it was cool, though. It came with the big map of Poland, and the art was kind of interesting. Let me see if I can show you from the old. They had some good like pencil drawn art. There was a shot in here I liked a lot. Well, you can see some of it like this, which was really cool, very evocative. Let me see. There was one. Yeah, here's a nice one. And I bet you the artist knew this gal, or it was his wife, because she looks like maybe's got a paintbrush in hand, and maybe she just drew that onto that APC or whatever. But if you can see that, it was just kind of there were nice touches involved. So, and the new one kind of continues with, you've got some different missions, but they're so there's maps that you have in game as well that fit certain missions that you can include, but it's definitely meant to be not be a campaign game. And then you can work some of these different things in along the way. So that's the referee's manual. But again, great art. I mean, you run across this guy with a shotgun. I think, I don't know if you can't quite see him. He's got crazy eyes, and he's clearly, looks to me like he's thinking about eating you. And you can get it can get that gritty in Twilight 2000. It can get that gritty. So, oh, hey, look at this plastic phasic workshop. Very cool. Well, thank you very much for that. Let me highlight that. So, hi, Chief. Love your boundless enthusiasm. Thank you. It is boundless. As a British Army medical officer, I appreciate that fuel is essential to keep the generators running and the tea brewing. Definitely, definitely. And you even have to take time in this game for your folks to clean their weapons and whatnot, or maintenance. If you don't, their reliability starts to drop down. It's one of the cooler, kind of grittier things about the game. And they don't get, I would say they step a little bit out of the minutia. I haven't completely finished reading the player's manual yet. I've read the referee's manual. But they've streamlined a few things. I know in the original game, facing for vehicles, which I'm going to be honest with you, I think we had like a technical pickup truck with a gun on it at one point. We couldn't keep fuel up on the APC. So, but there's facing things that matter. Thank you for the super chat. But it's nice because you're always like, well, do we abandon it or do we keep searching for food, or is it time to just get out of Dodge? Seems to be so much sight unseen in Sweden. It's almost thought of as a Swedish production. Seems to be so much sightseeing in Sweden. I don't know. Maybe the original designers. I'll be honest with you. I was a teen at the time, and I didn't even pay attention to who was making it. I know Frank Chadwick is listed on this version, and it feels very kind of Ameritrash role-playing at the time. I wasn't so much into Dungeons and Dragons at the time, although I'd played a couple of those, that this really was my sweet spot. Now, let me see. Let me get a couple more comments in, then I'll tell you what I'm about ready to do. We mostly play Euro games. Yeah. You know what? I mostly play Euro games too. My wife loves Euro games. I love Knizia. Man, anything Knizia. Medici, I have war gamers that get all surprised. They'll be like, what's your favorite game? And I'm like, Medici. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, it's this 45-minute game from Knizia about ships and trading goods and bidding. And they're like, huh? I'm like, I love it. Knizia is real good about having a simple rule set, and then the players is what you're playing. Phenomenal. Let's see. Yes, that guy with the shotgun is me guarding the Swedish border. You bet. But he looks hungry. I'm just saying, he looks hungry. Vorpal is in. Hello, Major Ugly. Way to go, Vorpal. Vorpal, you were torching people when we did the 12 hours of Boom. Woo. So I did a 12-hour straight. It's 12 live shows, 45 minutes, 50-minute breaks, one after another on our whiskey show. I originally got the idea when Tom with the Dice Tower was doing 24-hour shows with the Dice Tower. And I thought we can do 12 hours and have guests, and it was fun because we have guests from Scotland and Ireland, this last one, and all over the world sometimes. Jason from Germany once. And then we usually, as the time shifts, we move over to the States, and it's fun. But 12 hours of looking into a camera and even sipping small amounts of whiskey, and you always know you don't have a problem when you can't drink for a week afterward. And I did not even get drunk. It was just too much. I always played as the recon guy when I played Twilight 2000. Good, he played. Loved the recon, the special forces guys. Yes, I am. He says, I am hungry. Oh, wrong click. Yes, I'm hungry. I eat paratroopers. Careful, they'll eat you back. Oh, what do we got here? Sorry, Chief. Patreon contributor name is Jules G. Jules, thank you. Really interested to see how the tactical considerations combined with RPG elements. Yes, they do talk. I was just reading. Wow, I'm whistling. Just reading over the suppressive fire, which I'm going to be honest with you. When I played this, your rounds are your money. And so when you're shooting at someone, you are literally burning through your income. You barter with rounds. The items that are priced are how many bullets. And so it makes shooting painful because you're literally burning through your money. But it makes the game all that much sweeter, and it makes you dodge combat sometimes. I would find out we were trying to dodge things because we were like, man, we need fuel. We don't need a gunfight. How are you still conscious after 12 hours of drinking whiskey? I would drink about a quarter ounce. and sample it with our guest, and then a lot of water and some coffee, and you keep a full stomach. You eat, and I learned that because this is the fourth time we've done 12 hours of boom. You'll even see the poster. That's our first time. And that time I didn't do as well. I ran across a whiskey I liked and I had two. And it's kind of like when you fill up your gas tank in your car and then you try to get a little bit more in and all of a sudden it's overflowing. That was me. So now I'm very careful. My partner on the show and I, we kind of watch out for each other. Chief got drunk. No, I wouldn't say drunk. It was more like it's unpleasant. And then I was drinking a lot of water, drinking a lot of water. Lampshade over his head, dancing at the desktop. We always end at my fire pit outside, and we have music, and it's just kind of a nice casual hangout. So that is always fun. But I have been arguing that we need to do 6 hours of boom, and even that's long. Chief blacks out. He doesn't remember everything. Well, my wife would probably tend to agree. I seem to be forgetful on occasion. So let me tell you what we're going to do. I just talked to the individuals today. So Dan Pancaldi and I from No Enemies Here have been wanting to do, and I'm going to still come on his show. He wants to do some like philosophical dives where he'll come on my show and we'll chat about anything. It could be gaming or police work or whatever. Maybe not even on gaming, and we just have fun and chat because he and I will FaceTime. He's in Canada, and we'll just talk sometimes and be laughing. I made him laugh so hard he gets mad because he gets a headache. So I still may go on his show. He'll come on mine because we wanted to come up with different topics. But I thought, man, as I'm reading the rules for Twilight 2004th edition, I'm like, I would love to play this with Pancaldi. His grandfather, if I remember right, was a sniper, World War II, I believe, for Italy. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat if he played a character that was a sniper, a NATO Italian sniper that is also lost in Poland when everything is up for grabs and whatever his character wants to do. I thought that would be cool. And I would get to spend time with Pancaldi. Let me see what Vorpal says. How do you like 4th edition rules? Good so far. We'll come back to it. It's very open and it had a Fate Core kind of feel to it. Fate Core is what I've been liking most for role-playing lately. And then I had a second person I thought would be great. So Ron Nicholson, recently, or he's not fully retired, but he's like part-time retired. And he is, not past tense, has been helping me with my ambush missions. I sent them to him. He literally said, hey, I'm an editor or an assistant editor. I don't know his full title. Worked for a publishing company. And he goes, I have very exacting standards. So I'm like, oh, he goes, I'd love to help you. How thick is your skin? And I'm like, it's thick. I'm a cop and called every name in the book. He goes, good. Because what he wanted to do, and then I said, please do. He says, I'd like to play through, point out things I think don't work or inconsistent or branches of your paragraphs that could be better, shorter, cleaner, whatever. But if I'm going to edit it, you gotta be thick skinned. Otherwise you're going to hate me. And I'm like, well, let's do it as long as I can take it. And he was awesome. Now I'm probably to the point I need to take some days off. It's the only way I can ever find time is to burn some vacation time and get my ambush mission Viva. What's it called? I can't remember. Viva something crazy. It's the mission I made and go through and do a playthrough because he's cleaned some stuff up. He added something I'm not sure I'm going to like where he's like, I think this is clear, but I need to do a full playthrough. And he was helping me set up the formatting so that I could put it back on eBay and do it as a print and play. Printing costs have gotten so crazy expensive that I stopped printing the modules for sale. I used to have them on sale for sale on eBay. And it just did. I mean, you could go buy a full game and not just one ambush mission. So why? Who wants to do it? And I had to buy all these copies up front. And then who knows if they're going to sell or whatever. So I thought, you know what? Let me make them print and play, but I'll get the formatting down. That way somebody can make it real basic, printer paper if they want, or they can go fancier if they want. And and get it set up. And he was helping me format. And then he went after the rules. And I think we got some stuff cleaned up. He even found so easy in Ambush to be working and to get a number in a wrong spot or the wrong number on the cartridge sleeve, if you've played Ambush, that then takes you down a dead end path in a mission. And he'd found, I think, 1 or 2 of those. And I was like, oh my God. So those are fixed, but I need to play through, and then we'll see if those come back up at that point in time. What do we got here? Ambush needs a reprint very badly. I think it might, but you have to go back through all those things. And even me just doing the missions, it would take me about 3 months to get a mission worked up and done. And it was funny because I was trying to do 4. I had 3 done. The 4th one was almost done, and my son, who's 14, was born, and all my spare time went away, and so did the finishing of that mission. Because I have an idea of going back and doing a Western version and all kinds of stuff. What is this here? Please do more of these, Chief. Miss the old ham tag days. Me too. Boy, do I miss them. So, Judd, I think, got a little burned out. We were doing them every other week or maybe every week even. And I think just got a little burned out, and COVID kicked in and everything else. Greg said similar things, said, hey, I don't have as many, I don't churn through games. He finds game systems that he loves and that are solid and that he can take deep dives into. And then he just stays with those. The door is always open. If he wanted to come on, we'll come back to some of these other questions that are in. And then Judd wanted to take a little bit of a break, and I was like, no problem at all. If we come back, we come back. My whole deal is I'm literally doing my dream job. So I'm a police officer. That was my dream job since I was 5. Now I'm getting close to retirement, and I would love to do more of this type of stuff in retirement. So part of the deal was, when I was doing it for the Dice Tower, was I wanted to set up myself so that even if what I do makes almost no money. So Tom's able to do it full time. There's no way I could do anything and make full time. So I'd have to wait till I retire. But I enjoy the heck out of it. And if you enjoy something, which was also Tom's secret when he said, if you're going to do your own channel, if you don't enjoy it, stop, because you'll end up hating gaming altogether. And I even like the editing, not always, but sometimes. So back to Ron Nicholson. So I wanted Ron to come on. Ron was in the Army, and he was and Ron may correct me if I get some of this wrong, because God knows my memory is starting to blah, blah. I think he was a chaplain's assistant, which is like the chaplain's bodyguard. But you're also, I don't know, it's almost like a bit of an understudy, maybe. I don't know. Ron can say it better than I. But I thought, what if the NATO Italian sniper somehow has come across this chaplain's assistant, and they pair up, and it's just them two to start with, and they've got to survive, and it's open world. And then I had a little further idea that I wanted to do to spice it up and make it entertaining for me and allow me to do some weird, odd stuff. I could run an NPC, so that way I'm a little bit involved, not just as a referee, but with an NPC of a think Road Warrior, the feral kid with the dangerous boomerang without all the hair, but a kid that basically is a scrounger, just like that feral kid in Road Warrior. He's off and running, but he comes back. Hey, look at this. He's got some 308 rounds for Pancaldi. Well, thanks, feral kid, but close hair. I don't want that wild mane of hair. Boom, he comes back with some food. Bam, he's gone. He's in, he's gone. And it's just kind of a way that they could get maybe even some stuff, or maybe I'm able to feed even rumors, or, hey, you want to go over this way. I think he only speaks Polish and they don't understand Polish. So there's a little bit of a language problem going on. And Pancaldi's already said, hey, because his grandfather, and he's Italian, what if I say a few Italian curse words every once in a while? I'm good with it. I won't even know what it is. And quite honestly, I don't make enough money with the show that if you two said, hey, that was an Italian curse word, we're defunding that show. Great. I lost out on $7. So that's the advertising. I literally get like $7 from a show when the Patreon funds are what helps me. So Jules G, thank you. The Patreon funds are really how I'll pay for a mic or even a game, because I'll buy a lot of the games that I do review and then some are sent to me. I bought Twilight 2000 4th edition Kickstarter. But there's the premise, and I'll circle back to this, but the premise, and I've been on this for too long. Hold on, let me get this off. I've been on, so the idea is they're in Poland. I'm not going to do the Swedish map, although they can move into Sweden. The map in this game is double-sided. And whatever their goal is, it's like an apocalyptic sandbox, and it is that depressing. I was reading over the rules, and like northern Poland has lost 3/4 of their human population. I was like, oh my God. But it is that gritty. This is considered alternate history. Obviously, 2000's come and gone, and thank God we didn't have anything like this, because reading this, it's like, ugh. And hopefully, cross fingers, we never do. Saner heads should prevail. But the idea of Pancaldi and Ron playing and working through this sandbox, and then this feral kid coming and going with supplies. Who knows why? Maybe, who doesn't like an Italian? He's a sniper, so he sneaks in and out. Let's see on that note. It also opens it up and I'm going to film these. So I'll use StreamYard. I have the ability to come in and add in like 3 people. It won't do it because I don't have them in. So I don't know why I'm trying to do that. But I can bring in 3 people. I won't run them live because there's too much distraction with comments and what's going on. But I'll bring them in a private room, record it, and then I can go back and edit as necessary, tighten things up, or hey, bathroom break, boom, we go, come back, whatever. Well, I'll play with it, try to keep them, not too long, but we'll see. YouTube's so good that I think StreamYard limits the amount of live shows. It might be only 3 hours you can go, which is why we would even on 12 hours of Boom, we do 45 minutes, stop a show, 15 minutes later, start a new show. But there's the premise. We're going to use the YouTube and this live version, the StreamYard, but it won't be live, for me to connect. Dan's in Canada. Ron has moved to Ohio. Now, a little tidbit. Ron said, hey, the mind is willing, the body's not. Ron has visited me before when he was a kid. He lived in Wichita. We did not know each other then. He's a little older than I. But he has Parkinson's. And he says, hey, I have some days where it's rough. And I don't think it would be very appealing for the viewers to see me when I can't control my body from shaking. And I said, well, I have no problem with it, but I've actually been watching some role-playing sessions, mostly with Fate, because I wanted to get a little bit better at what I was doing with Fate. And there's one show I was watching. For whatever reason, the guy kept his camera off. Or maybe the cover was over the camera. You could hear him. He was involved, but there was no visual of him. And I said, I said, Ron, if you're willing, I still want to have you on there. And if you're having a good day, visual, we got you. If it's a rough day or you just don't feel like being on camera, flip the little camera thing down and we'll still play, and we'll have you via Audible, the sound coming through. And he was like, you know what? I'm in. And I'm like, perfect. So that's what we'll be doing with the show. Now, let me get back to some of the comments here. I'll come back up to Vorpal. I saw you had several. Tommy Lee, let's see. Damn, I'm from Northern Poland. Tommy, I'm sure you would be the 1/4 that made it. The question is, after reading, this might be one of those where if you go out in a quick flash early, it's better. But I have always been one to carry on and struggle forward. And so I bet you I would not be so lucky, and I would be the feral kid running around. Let's see. Would you be able to run this like the B17 streams with Patreons as characters? The way I'm going to do it is if somebody came in, I might what I want to do is get good at how do I run it with these two and how is it working? And then my concept was that I might even do something. Now, this is into the realm of possibility, so don't say this is not a guarantee. But if it's working well and there's a possibility that I could say, "Hey guys, how about we add somebody new that I could use, maybe someone from Patreon if they were willing." So someone that's already donating money to the show and whatever else, maybe have a tier that's not crazy, but hey, if you're interested in coming in, you might get a one-off, or maybe you could come on as a full-time player. I don't know. That may be weird and maybe that sucks. Or I like the idea of one-offs where I could have a guest pop in and they know they're going to be there for a limited amount of time. They can't kill Dan or Ron. That would ruin it. You're dead. Oh, thanks for effing up the game. Paisan. No, but I mean, they could come in and play I don't know, a bad guy that's going to be around or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of possibilities there. And my mind has tripped down that trail. So I definitely was thinking, if this works, and who knows, maybe it doesn't. And if Ron and Dan and I like it, who knows, maybe we don't. But if we do, that there is possibility to grow this. So I've watched a couple long time ago, actually. I was watching, they do role playing Dungeons and Dragons. I thought 5th edition, super famous. They're all voice actors. They even got their own like cartoon coming out with their characters or something. Now they're trained professionals, but I loved what they were doing, and it's what this YouTube medium is really good at. If somebody knows the name of that show, it's on the tip of my tongue, but there it stays. Let me know, because watching what they did and the ability to connect, bonding with board games is critical role. That's it, Tommy. Seeing what they did. Now, obviously, we can't gather together, but what YouTube and what the current technology allows us to do is to meet wherever you are. And I love that aspect of it. And I want to see how well Streamyard works for it as well. So there's all kinds of possibilities. And especially as I get closer and closer, I plan on retiring in 2026. Now, if things are rolling good, I would love to just read books and play games. So as I get closer to retirement, I've got way too many books that I can't read them all. I got way too many games I can't play them all. And the idea of the name of my show, Bonding with Board Games, when I was working with Tom Vasil, he's like, "Man, that's too long of a name." I said, "I want to keep that in, though. I know it's cumbersome, but it is the bonding. And playing games with people is such a joy for me. The games themselves are fun, and I like playing solitaire, but playing with people is just so rich that the idea that I could work that into the show more is awesome. Something interesting about Italy: great place to visit, not so great to live. Okay, I don't know that. I did talk to somebody that said they'd visited Rome, and they were surprised how dirty it was. And I was like, oh, because I've never been there. I want to be to the Colosseum. I want to see all the sights. But they were a little surprised that it was dirty. But they had first visited Germany. So they were Americans. They'd visited Germany. And they said that might have set them up for failure, because they said Germany everything was clean, clean, clean. And everything ran with precision. And I said, yeah, that sounds German. So I don't know what that was, but they just told me they were surprised by, like, you would be next to this classic old Roman site, and then next to it was a empty, dilapidated 1950s building. And I was like, really? I don't know what I picture, but it wasn't that. Hi, Chief. Just got my Kickstarter pledge, Twilight 2000. Excellent. Excellent. What do we got here? We'll try waiting for our Polish print of T2K. Awesome. They'd let us know. I actually think to get Americans our Twilight printing, they actually shipped it into, I could be way wrong with this because I've got a couple Kickstarters moving around. I thought they shipped into Canada to get it down to us to avoid the port problem. something like that. Whatever they did, they did a good job, and it is nice. I have one buddy of mine. He's role playing all the time. He makes fun, jokingly, of my board game obsession, and he loves Free League. He has Lost Lands and he has the Alien game, but he did not like the production of this. I don't think, well, I know what it is. He didn't like the paper. He likes the hardback books. He's kind of a collector, and he loves when they have kind of the collector style to them. And really all they had with this was you could have got the collector tin. I don't like tins. It looked like an ammo box or something, or an ammo crate or something, so I didn't get it. What is this? No, Chief. Chief cannot base a role-playing game off Patreon. He needs actual skilled players to start the campaign. Well, Dan's never played a role-playing game in his life. So what I just need are people that are able to incorporate a character that is not you, which can be tough. I've played with some role players that they can't separate themselves from the person they're playing. My son is great. He's played a female character. He's played a serial killing elf. He's now playing a obese man in Wild Times. It's actually a time travel fate game that we've created ourselves. So the key is usually theater of the mind, imagination. And I think Dan will be great and Ron will be great, but we will see what happens. Like I said, none of those other plans are fixed in stone. The only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to drop a character with Ron one-on-one. We'll be able to check lighting and camera and sound. I'll do up a character with Pancaldi. He already knows everything he's doing because he's got his own show. And then I will put those both out, and that'll be character creation. And then we will have a joint show. Again, it won't be live, that I will film where they start something very, very simple. Yes, Critical Role. I loved actually seeing Critical Role doing what they're doing is kind of what got me thinking back to role playing more. And I realized that even in B-17 Queen of the Skies, I felt for those fictitious names that were in positions in planes, and literally to the point where I lost a plane and I couldn't play the game anymore that day. I was saddened over pieces of paper and fake names. Now I'm doing the real names, so I'm sad. Although no one's been dying. I had one person die, and I do need to get back to that. I know I need to do episode 14. Life got busy, vacations, summer, and I stepped away, and I will come back. It's literally, I've got a table where I can lift off the top and I keep B-17 under there. Good point, Vorpal. I think that's back to non-experienced players. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, I think Dan will be hilarious, and you'll end up having fun in a gritty post-apocalyptic setting, which is awful hard to pull off. Some people are the total opposite and become the character they are playing, and I love that. Yes, right. Yeah, they totally will get into the character. I've had characters, our players, start to do stuff and literally go, I wouldn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I know you wouldn't be like a serial killing elf, son, although now I sleep with one eye open. It was a great scene. All the players at the table, I'll give you, it was actually Lost Lands. My other friend was running the game. I was just a player. And we were breaking out of a cell, and we were getting ready to make a dash to get out of this location. And my boy says, the elf's hungry. We're all like, what? Well, we'll eat. We'll find something to eat. And he's like, no. And he asks the GM, I think you said the kitchen's over here. I can smell something. I'm going to walk that way. And then one of the players is like, hey, what are you doing? They started calling him by his regular name. What are you doing? We got to get out of here. He's like, oh, hold on. And then he goes in and he describes a kitchen where this old woman is baking bread, and there's bread baking, and there's dough rising. And he uses the stealth roll to get up near her. And he says, is anyone else in the room? And the GM says, yeah, there's also two young girls that are working slightly kind of around the corner near the ovens. And he says, close enough that they may hear a commotion? And he said, definitely. And so he stole a loaf of bread and then left. And everybody was at the table going, there was like this silence. And they were like, he's like a serial killer elf. And they were like, some of them were like, hey, you can't kill her. And then the GM had to say, hey, you guys, he left you behind. Just wait and see what he does. And then the guy running the game got with me later and said, your son was the best role player in that whole deal. He goes, I actually thought he might still try to kill her and the girls. So, and the other guys I was playing with, their coworkers, they'll come up to me every once in a while and be like, man, your boy with that serial killer elf. Total party kill. I think Dan is already an RPG character. Yes, I would agree. I think I am too, quite honestly. Sorry, Chief, you are not unique. Okay, never mind. I take it back. We have all been Custer at one time or another. Probably true, but we live to fight another day. I will share my secret winning Call of Cthulhu, the RPG. Stand in the back of the party, close your eyes, and disbelieve everything. Yeah, that would do it. Chant to yourself, say the Lord's Prayer or whatever you got to do if Cthulhu people are running around. Let's see. Let me get a drink of water. So I don't know how to say it. Maybe my fella Tom that's in here, Kalisz. Your group starts in a Polish town called Kalisz. At least that's how I say it. I'm probably saying it wrong. There is a module that's coming based on this first game, which is, I think it's called the Black Madonna. It was around when I bought this, but it was the only one they did on a stretch goal, and it's supposed to be available. Soon. I don't know how they're doing. I think they're doing an RPG, and then when they finally put it out, if you pay shipping, you can get it. But they're already talking about modules that'll come out. Kalisz should sound good. Kalisz, okay. But that is where they'll start. And I literally, the beauty of this game, okay, to get in what this is and why I like Fate. It's a role-playing open sandbox where they can see the map. They even did the map up where it feels like it's, when I was in the Army, they would do these weatherized maps. So they're plasticized or they're plastic. I don't even know. But they don't get, if you get them wet, they don't fall apart. And it feels like that. So their value here has been great. And then the characters take it wherever they want to take it to. They can talk to me individually or send me little notes. It'll be interesting doing it via this, but I've been doing enough shows, whiskey shows for 8 years with live guests coming in. The board game stuff, probably tack on a year or two before that, that it should work fine. I think we're at a perfect time. And my hope is that if this works, I'll get better at how it runs, how it works, sharing maps. I've been playing around and I don't know exactly how to do it, but I've got another camera and the ability to hook in without having to go crazy. There's some connector jumper boxes you got to use if you go crazy, but ability to have another camera that would be aiming down at say a map or something like this, so that I would be able to move to a separate camera angle and then focus on, contextual stuff for the game and make it visually entertaining, hopefully, and then come back. And I can control that via what I already know how to do on Streamyard. And Streamyard's growing and developing anyway, kind of like Zoom. And so there's tools coming in that I don't even know how to use that I may need to learn how to work in order to do this. So let me show you a few things. So dice rolls, they will either get their own dice. The games I saw played, they had dice rollers that would roll on the screen and keep that kind of probably kept all the players legit. I can't imagine either of those two lying about a dice roll, but maybe that's more entertaining for everybody to see it. But dice will come back. I see somebody talking about the Black Madonna. They do a very cool thing with encounter cards where you run across things. You can just have them heavily randomized. Initiative, I don't know if I like their initiative system. You can deal out cards and it sets what the initiative will be, whether it's for an NPC or a player. I usually, and with Fate, there are some characters that they may have a skill set that means they're faster, or it might make sense based on the buildup to the thing that triggers whatever the encounter or combat is. But when in doubt, you can do initiatives. Let's see. They do have, and I know some of you have seen this. I did an unboxing. Let's get rid of some silica. They do have a counter sheet that I haven't punched out yet, but where you can place the individual soldiers or vehicles on a map and they provide several hex maps. They're almost like geomorphic, but they don't quite fit geomorphically, that you can play with. And they say in the rules, you can step away from doing that and just go theater of the mind. So it's an option, but I actually like the maps that are there. And that's where I might need a second camera. Now, this is what I'm talking about. It feels like a military map. One side is Sweden, and you get a little bit of Norway in there. That is all the water sides here. And the other side is Poland. So very, very big map. These are hexed out as well. I know I'm not close enough for you to see them. And then they tell you, I can't remember if it's 10 kilometers per hex. It's probably more than that. But you've got a lot of play space. So, and all things, they've got orders of battle for Russians and the Swedish troops. And there's no UK in here. And I believe there was a module where you got the UK vehicles and order of battle kind of stuff. And I bet you they'll do the same thing. So player sheets, there's a cool little thing that starts everybody off with like a very first mission. But you can see they've done little maps that feel very board game-ish and double-sided, very nicely done. And these dovetail with both some missions and then just some extra sheets that you can play along with. So they're getting ready to do a Blade Runner version where I was like, well, that too sounds interesting, but I'm already doing a Fate, and then I'm going to be doing this, and we will see. I've got an Alien one as well. Let's go back and see what we've got here. So, how far back? So Tommy, Nathan, let's see, where was that? Okay. Kalish sounds good. Vorpal, let's bring this up. The Black Madonna, I have that module, first of 3 in the Warsaw campaign. Very cool. Okay, so that's clearly what they're teasing up with. They're going to provide for the Kickstarter backers the Black Madonna, and I did not have the Warsaw pack. I didn't have any of those, so I didn't know anything about it. But I know just looking online, the Pirates of Vistula, or however it's said, there's a couple modules that cover all the lakes and rivers and make those playable. The Warsaw packs just create that whole world there. And then the Krakow, I think, was the other one. And then they had their expanded weapons books, but then there was there was some other very cool modules. I know they even expanded with maybe the second or third version, like a spinoff if you were in the Orient and stuff of that nature. There was even one back in the States, if I remember. So any plans for finding minus, making the game more crunchy? Any plans for finding minis or minus? I don't know. Re-asked Nathaniel. I'm not sure. Finding minus. Vorpal Bite for Cult, right? See, I don't know that. If possible, would like to plug a review channel. Board Game Bullocks is excellent. Lots of euros. Maybe not everyone's bag, but a great channel. You know what? It's like in the whiskey world. There's so many, we call them whiskey tubers. There's so many gamers that are coming out with shows and stuff. Way better production values than anything I do, and I love it. I believe that what you're seeing with YouTube is going to expand, already is a little bit, well beyond YouTube, where you will, it's like the Gutenberg printing. So the Gutenberg Bible, no more hand copying over and a bunch of scribes writing the same thing. It's a printing press. YouTube and the shows that are going to come forward, there'll be competitors for YouTube, which should make it more interesting for creators, because I think YouTube will be forced to, reward creators a little bit more, content creators. But I believe what you're looking at is a full out revolution. I had a problem with a belt on my lawnmower, of all things, my riding lawnmower. And I thought, geez, do I pay somebody to look at this? I don't know anything about lawnmowers or whatever. And I went and found my model and watched a couple of YouTube shows. And the guy was like, I'm watching it. And he's like, if your mower isn't working in this way, you probably just slipped the belt. You need to do this to get the belt back on. And if you need to replace the belt, then he walks you through it, shows you the little tricks. And I had my mower up and running in about 1 hour. And I was like, this is a revolution. I'll give you another weird one. My sister loves to travel, and she has a knitting show, Rehash Fiber. She like makes her own yarn and all this stuff, but she was traveling through Europe and she likes to do her own driving. I hate it. I want autonomous vehicles if I go there to take me where I need to go and to follow all the laws and drive on the correct side of the road and do whatever. She practiced driving from a city to another city where she knew she was going to drive. And a guy had a show where he drives the routes and shows you how to pay the different tolls and what coinage, what to have ready. And if it's a basket type toll, if it's a credit card, if it's a chip reader. And I was like, I never even thought of that. And that stuff, quite honestly, if I'm rolling through France and I hit a toll booth and I don't speak French and I can't figure out what the proper coinage is, I get stressed because someone's behind me honking and I'm like, oh, so I would just probably not do it. And here she is watching a YouTube channel to help her drive around. And then she said it was the easiest thing she ever did because of YouTube. It's, if possible, yes, you already did plug it. I have no problem with plugs. Let's see. What is this for? He's wanting to know for Twilight 2000. Is he holding the Pirates module, second of the series? Yes. So the Pirates of the Vistula. Now you're saying second of the series. I will admit, as a kid, I saw this in the game store. I love the idea of what looked like a tugboat being turned into a brown water Navy kind of gunship, and I bought it. Back then, I did not know what was the first in the series, the second, or whatever was going on. I liked it. They used to keep them sealed, so I couldn't see what was inside. You just got to see like this cool action in the story, and then that. So I bought this. And if I remember right, we only played with it once and not to its full potential. We got our ship, we got on the boat, we got all ready, we did one little thing, and then I don't know what happened. Somebody got a girlfriend or something. So Black Madonna #1. So then we've got, sorry, there's a Black Madonna campaign for the horror RPG Cult. Mix them up. Oh, okay, got it. Pirates of the Vistula #2. Runes of Warsaw 3. Okay. Wow. What is this? Wow. Jump straight into playing without miniatures. Okay. Nicest map I've ever seen. Yes. It is geek out worthy. I mean, it is really cool. It reminds me of some of the maps that, oh gosh, how can I? Kibler did for the American Civil War. MMP puts them out. Just a gorgeous map, beautiful. And the first game, its map wasn't too shabby either. I mean, it's not that big. It wasn't hexed out, but you had this map here, which was actually pretty novel for the time. So the fact that they ran with that, though, very, very cool. And I'm personally glad they weren't hardbacks. I wanted it to be, I had no problem with the boxed version, but I think that's because of my board game roots. You say high quality as well. Yes, it feels it so it feels like it's almost waxed paper or plastic, and it's heavy duty. I don't know. I mean, it is paper, but I don't know what they did to it. It feels plasticized, and it reminds me a little bit of when I was in the Army. The maps there were kind of ruggedized like this, where they were plasticized and they could get wet. Everybody still kept them in a little map pouch that kept it out of the weather anyway, but still very cool. I am going to shut the show down a little bit. My son is going to be getting off the bus. My youngest son has Down syndrome, so I always have to meet the bus. He will be getting off right around 3:05 my time. It's 2:45 or 2:46 my time. So that's when I will wrap the show. Actually, pretty full box. Yes, very full box, actually. So the books are heavy. Let's see what else we got. We'll get to the comments, guys. They have really done a great kit there for the start. Yes, they have. And the way they're talking, even in the rules, they're talking about the modules to come. And they one of the stretch goals, not only a few extra little starter missions, but they had some background on the neighboring countries. You get a little background on Germany. I can't find it now that I'm looking for it, but they give you a little bit of, oh, here we go. United Kingdom, France, the rest of the world, America. You get these little paragraph breakdowns. It's going to be upside down, but they give you these little breakdowns. I don't know why I'm not just spending the time to do that. They give you these little breakdowns on the state of the world, but they keep it in the referee's manual so that you can dole out information as needed, but still keep it a little bit vague for the players. So I won't go into too much of that because it'll keep it away from Ron and them. Magnus says, I missed the map of Sweden. When or if you showed it. Okay, you bet. So it's double-sided. I'll show it again real quick. So this side is Poland, and this side is Sweden. And you can see in the corner, you got Norway. Oslo, I think, is up there. Hopefully that shows pretty good without a lot of glare. But it is really, really cool. So just to go in a little bit closer with the Polish side again. Again, I can't see the camera once I got this in, but how's it look? Yeah, that's pretty good. So you can just, and there's hexes throughout. And it's really done. Hold on. I thought maybe it showed. Oh, the legend doesn't give you, but you've even got kind of like a regular map. You've got alpha along the top and numbers. So if you were, I don't know, for the military, that's if you're calling in artillery strikes or whatever. Let me get through some more. Let's see. Yeah, I'm almost sold on buying English version and Polish one later. You know what? I have so many games. I will always wait and be patient, but I get it. Minis. Okay. Minis. You know, whenever I love Fate because the theater of the mind will put me in place so much better than miniatures. But I do love the maps they have here and the way that you can work out things. And if they're going to be using covering fire and stuff, we're going to give it a shot. Yeah, who knows if it'll stand up or break down while I'm playing it, but Colt is a great Swedish RPG. You know, Sweden is putting out, Free League alone is putting out some unbelievably great games. And I love to see role-playing doing what it's doing. So there's Twilight. There's everything that's in the box. I don't know. Watching people play with their imagination that's why I think I like Critical Role as well. Their ability to act as well and do voices is so neat. Little Wars channel did a Vietnam War teaser, got me addicted. Okay, I'm going to roll through these and then I'll let the show go here, I think. What are we at? 250? I think I know what this prize is going to be. In the middle of the Pirates of Vistula and Ruins of Warsaw, Centerfold has a macro combat system. Okay. The macro system was better than the original rules. Okay. They say there's a little there. They've adjusted the rules, and I'm going to be fully honest with you. I cannot remember all the rules when I played in the 80s. This is supposed to be streamlined and not nearly as kind of fiddly. They already mentioned that penetration values aren't in play. We'll have to see how all that works. The Black Madonna is a reference to religious relic in Prague. Yes, I do remember that. Or maybe that's what they tease in the book. I think that is what they tease in the book. Roll buckets of dice was more popular than rolling percentile dice. Yeah. Well, they've got some 12-sided, 8-sided, 6-sided. They even included like this little person hit die where you can roll and it says if they're hitting the leg or the torso or the arm. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, we're going through. What's this here? Thanks. I'm just off of it at the North Center. Very cool. Theater of the Mind. Theater of the Mind is better than my 60 millimeter Vietnam table. Not a chance. I have quite a vivid imagination. I used to get in trouble in my 6th grade math class. I was always lost in math, I'm going to be honest. And Mr. Lang would yell at me because he'd say, "You're daydreaming again." And I'd say, "Yeah, that's true. That is true." I could go into a whole nother world. It's one reason I love reading so much. All right. I'm at 1 hour and 2 minutes. So look for this. Now, again, we're working around 2 other adults' schedules. My schedule is probably the most chaotic. I've got a whiskey channel that I'm always filming on, 2 kids still at home, and a wife that definitely likes my attention, and I like hanging out with her as well, and we play games. Things won't always be run on a rail or coming out at an exact time, but I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to this, me being able to hang out with Ron Nicholson and Dan Pancaldi and just watch what happens in Poland in this fictional alternate history of the apocalypse stuck in Poland. Should be interesting. I will finish reading. I've read the entire player's manual, got that down. Now I'm that far into the player's manual. So the referee's manual I'm in, and literally as I finished it, I started to have these thoughts that I might be able to pull this off. Nothing nearly as cool or polished as Critical Role, but it should be entertaining. And like I said, at the very least, you'll have a feral kid without long hair running around in and out, sometimes in a scene, sometimes not, with coming up with, I don't know, 308 round here or there, or maybe a little tin of food. Who knows? All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We did pretty good, got pretty good numbers. I love what's going on in the world of gaming, including role-playing, board gaming, and oh boy, does Twilight 2000 4th edition have my imagination flowing, which is right what it should be. So see you guys later. Thank you very much. Bye.